you guys, it's Nelly. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am so excited because I am going to be doing my 2017 beauty favorites, and it's so crazy that we are in 2018. I know it's getting repetitive. Everybody's saying the same thing, but you guys, we made it to 2018. I have such a good feeling about 2018. I think it's gonna be a great year. 2017 was definitely a year of changes for me, for my family. It was a year of stability. It was a year of growing up, pretty much. I realized who my true friends were. I realized that I really didn't have any friends except family. I realized so many things. Like, I grew up so much in the span of 1 year. It wasn't a bad year. It was a weird year, which I had already talked about this in the community here on YouTube. I talked about how it wasn't a bad year. It was just weird. You know, there was a lot of changes that happened. There was a lot of stability, which my family and I definitely needed. And it was a year where I kind of found myself again towards the end of the year. I kind of lost myself a couple years ago, like in 2013. I think that's when it started to just go down from there. And this year was finally, unfortunately, it was towards the end of the year where I finally realized that I just didn't know who I was anymore. And my voice is shaking. I promise I'm not gonna cry. But it was a year where I kind of realized how lost I truly was, how much I had lost myself in the previous years. 2017 just kind of brought up every single emotion that I was suppressing. And unfortunately, it happened towards the end of the year. It happened like not that long ago, but it happened before the new year. And I am so mentally ready for everything, and I am so excited, and I am truly, genuinely happy with my life, with myself, and I hadn't felt this way in such a long time, and I am just so excited for 2018. And by the way, before we get into the favorites, really quickly, I want to address my hair. So I did cut it. This is my natural hair, but I do still have extensions in the front right here, just so that it can be all one length, because in my whole soul searching experience that I had, I realized that I was really sad and down on myself because of the way my hair looked, and it wasn't my hair itself. It was more of like the style that I had. The long hair wasn't me. It was too much of an upkeep. It was just too hard to maintain, pretty much. It was too long, so I decided to just cut it to my actual length and then just leave the pieces in the front that were kind of making me a little bit, you know, low about the way that my hair looked. So it looks really pretty. It's just like a square bob, and I love it. I think it looks really chic, and eventually it's gonna grow, which that's the goal for 2018, to let my hair naturally grow on its own. Yeah, let's get into the favorites. Start off with the way that I apply my makeup. So I'm gonna do primers, foundations, concealers, and then we will move on to eyes, and then we'll go from there. So it's gonna be fast. I'm not gonna talk too much about every single product because, you guys, there's a lot of stuff that I was obsessed with this year. So this is gonna be a long video, and I've already rambled on for the first 3 minutes of the video. So I'll put a timestamp down below if you wanna skip to anything. So let's do this. So I'm going to start off with the moisturizer, and this is the Glossier Priming Moisturizer. This is their Moisturizing Rich Cream. I love this so much. This is my base, my moisturizer. Every single time I do my makeup, I don't go a day without this. It's so rich, so luxurious, so moisturizing, and it just makes my skin look so refreshed, so dewy. Completely obsessed with this. So I apply this before I do my makeup, and if you have dehydrated skin, if you have dry skin, if you have normal skin, you will love this. If you have oily skin, you will not like this because this is super hydrating, but I love it to apply before I do my makeup, and everything just goes on so smooth. Any foundation that I have tried with this looks awesome. I love this moisturizer. Another skincare product that I have been completely obsessed with this past year is the Ren Perfect Canvas Silicone Free Skin Finishing Serum. If you can see my bottle, I'm actually kind of happy that the lights are so bright and you can properly see this, because this is so dirty. Can you see that? It is so dirty, and I don't know, it's just such a well-loved item in my collection. You can't really see through it, but it feels kind of empty, and I am so sad because I love this so much. So this is pretty much like, I first go in with my moisturizer and then I apply this, and this just makes everything look so flawless, so picture perfect. I love this. You guys know I have texture, so products like this are always a must for me because they just make my skin look nice and flawless. It does come in a little dropper like this, so you can kind of drop the product. I put about a couple drops into my palm. Sometimes I do it straight onto the face. I rub it together and I blend it into the skin, or like I blend it into the skin until I feel it getting nice and tacky, and that's how I know it's ready. So if you have texture, you will love this. Another primer that rocked my socks in 2017 was the Dermalogical Hydra Blur Primer. This is so good. If you have pores that you need to fill, I love this primer so much. This is such a good blurring primer. It blurs every single little pore, fills in the fine lines. It makes your skin look nice and flawless and just like a clean canvas. I love this primer. So if you like pore minimizing primers, try this one by Dermalogical. You will not regret it. It is very, very good. Another primer, which is another blurring primer, is the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer. My lettering has almost rubbed off because I use this so much. This is my second bottle of this. I'm not sure if this was a 2017 release or if it was a 2016. I might have even mentioned this in my last year's favorite. I don't remember, but it was another staple in my collection this year. Like, I cannot live without this primer. If you have been watching me for a long time, you know that I like to mix and match my primers. And this is what I like to call my mixer, because it doesn't matter what primer I am using, I will always mix in a little bit of the Urban Decay Optical Illusion because I just love the way that my skin looks. Again, it makes everything look nice and flawless and poreless, which I love. 2017 was a huge year for foundations. So many different brands launched new foundations. So many different brands came out with foundations. Like, it was a crazy year for the foundation world, which I love because I love foundations. So there's a couple in here that are new, but there's also a couple that are not new, but I still wore them throughout the whole entire year. So let's get into it. The first foundation definitely is the YSL All Hours foundation. This foundation is so good. It's so full coverage. It makes everything look nice and even. I love this. It doesn't feel cakey. It doesn't look cakey. And I feel like the longer you wear the foundation, the better your skin looks. It's definitely a more mattifying foundation from all of the ones that I'm going to show you. This is definitely the most matte, but you can make it really nice and hydrating and kind of satin finishy if you do wear a hydrating primer underneath, or if you moisturize your skin really well. This will turn into a really nice satin-like finish. Definitely not a dewy finish, but more of like a satin matte finish. Love this. Super high coverage. I love the way it looks. This is probably my go-to foundation on the days that I want to feel really luxurious and really bougie. I wear this foundation because it just makes my skin look expensive. Like, it looks so beautiful. I love this foundation. I also really love the Jouer Essential High Coverage Foundation. Oh my god, I just got this more towards the end of the year because this was like a late release in the year. But you guys, I have been wearing this non-stop ever since I got this foundation. You can see that it's pretty beat up. There's makeup all over it because I use it so much. This foundation is extremely full coverage. Like, you need at least half a pump and you can cover your whole entire face. If you do a full pump, that is way too much. I learned that from experience, but if you only do half a pump, it will cover your whole entire face and you will get the most flawless finish ever. It does not look cakey. It does not feel heavy. It looks beautiful. And if you mix it in with a more dewy foundation, it is so perfect. Like, it is such a perfect foundation. This can also be your mixer foundation. So if you have something that's a little bit more lightweight but you like the finish, you can mix in a little bit of this just to add more coverage to it. Like, I love this. It's so multi-purpose. So where was I going with that? It has a ton of multi-purposes and I love this. You can use it as concealer, you can use it as a spot concealer, you can use it as foundation. Like, I love the Jouer Essential High Coverage Cream Foundation. Another big foundation for me this year was the Dior Skin Forever Foundation. This foundation is so pretty. It has like a pore blurring effect. So on the days that I want to look extra poreless, I go in with this foundation. The reason why I didn't use this foundation like as much as the other ones that I have talked about this year is because of the coloring. The coloring on this is a little bit more pinky than I'm used to, so I do still use it. I love it, I'm obsessed with it, but I don't use it as much as I use the other ones because of the coloring. But on the days that I want to just really look flawless and poreless, I'll go ahead and use this because this stuff is good. It blurs everything. It makes you look nice and dewy, but it's still full coverage. It's not like super dewy, but it's not like super matte. It's kind of like a satin finish, but it still looks like your skin. Like, it looks so beautiful, so gorgeous. If you have pores that are huge and you want a good foundation and you want to splurge, this one is definitely the one that you should pick up. And I am in the shade 030. It's the closest one that I have found to match me because they do run a little pink. So keep that in mind. If you are gonna pick it up, definitely go ahead and get color matched at the store. So I have to talk about the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. I'm pretty sure I talked about this in my last year's beauty favorite, but this foundation is probably going to be in my favorites for the rest of my life. Like, this is such a good foundation. I love the coloring. I am in the shade Warm Ivory. Love the coloring on this. Love how it looks. It doesn't matter how much of it you apply, you will still look flawless. It will still feel like nothing, and it's just really full coverage and really moisturizing. So the Vanishing Stick Foundation is probably one of my favorite foundations of all time. Like, I love this so much. And from the drugstore, I have to include my favorite foundation, which is a super old foundation, and it is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation. You guys, by the way, I am in the shade 128. This foundation is, I don't think any company is going to be able to match what this foundation does because it's that great. This is a mattifying foundation, but it's not too matte to the point that it just looks dry, and it is a pore minimizing foundation. Like, this blurs out your pores. If you really like the Dior Skin Foundation and you want something a little bit cheaper, definitely check out the Maybelline Matte and Poreless because this is so good. And they recently came out with the dewy one, which I have to try, but this is going to be my top for a very long time because, again, if you have problematic skin like I do, you need things like this. This is great. So moving on to concealer, I want to start off by talking about the Kevyn Aucoin Super Natural Concealer. I love these concealers so much. They are very lightweight, but they still have a nice coverage to them, and they feel very moisturizing on the under eyes. This year for me, I realized that I cannot use the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer as much as I used to. I cannot use, what's the other one, the Bobbi Brown Concealer that was kind of thick. My under eyes are extremely dry, so I have to use things that are a little bit more moisturizing, even if that means a little bit less coverage, because I would prefer to have less coverage than just my under eyes looking really crusty and really dry, because that emphasizes all of the little lines. So these concealers were awesome. They're super moisturizing, they're super thin in consistency, and they still gave me a really nice full coverage under my eyes, and they did not crease on me. So I love these, and I'm going to continue to use them this year. You will see them again because I love them so much. Another concealer that was such a big hit for me was the YSL All Hours Concealer. I love this. Oh my god, like this is my favorite concealer at the moment. I love the coloring on this. I am in the shade 3. It is perfect. It has a nice undertone that just fits my skin so well. It's illuminating, it's hydrating, it gives me just the right enough of coverage. I love this. And of course, I have to talk about the one and only Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer. You guys, this took over. When I discovered this, I completely forgot about my Tarte Shape Tape and I started using this one instead because it gave me the same benefits as a Tarte Shape Tape. It gave me the same coverage, it gave me the same application, but this one was just a tiny bit more hydrating. Love this concealer, super affordable. It's like $2 at Walgreens, and honestly, it performs just as well or even better as a high-end concealer. So love the Wet n Wild concealer. Go ahead and get into some eye stuff. I want to talk about a couple different palettes that launched this year. I want to talk about the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette. This palette was definitely one of the most popular items this year, and it is for a reason, for a good reason. This palette is so good. Let me open it up so you guys can see. This is what the palette looks like on the inside. It has so many different colors, so many different varieties that you can do with this palette. You can do a natural look, you can do a super intense look, you can do a colorful look, you can do so many different things with this particular palette. And again, it's a staple in most people's collections, and it's definitely a staple in mine. I could be doing a super basic smoky eye and I will always reach into this palette just to see what I can find, because there's always a color that can work with a look. Like there's everything you need is in this palette. I think she did a great job with the formula, with the packaging, with the color selection, the way that it's put together. I love it, and it's a great palette. So if you've been skeptical about picking it up, I definitely say do it because it's great. And I do think they changed the packaging, so now you can get a more glossy look so that it won't get as dirty. Because if you take a closer look at mine, can you see that? Can you see that? Mine is filthy, but yeah, I love the palette. I love the coloring. I love the pigmentation. Everything about this palette, I love. So next up, I have the Sephora Pro palette, and this is the warm tone one. I am completely blinding you guys, but this is what it looks like. I do own the cool tone one, the artist one, I think that's the name, but this is the one that I use the most out of the 2, or is it 3? I don't know how many they came out with, but this is the one that I use the most because of how warm it is, and it's such a beautiful palette. It's really nice and pigmented. It's definitely a very beautiful palette. It reminds me a lot of the Natasha Denona packaging. It's not the same formula, but it does look a lot alike, and it has a nice weight to it. Like it's not a cheap feeling palette at all. Like it has some weight to it, which I like. I like to feel it expensive, you know, and it wasn't an expensive palette. I think it was like $60 for all of these shadows, and they do perform really well. I love how you can do so many different looks with this palette as well. You can do something from, you can go from doing something super light to something really smoky and dramatic. So yeah, another great palette of 2017. Morphe, another palette by Morphe. I think Morphe did such a good job this year with stepping up their game. They definitely improved a lot of their formula. They improved their packaging, and this is their 3502 palette. And you guys, this palette, there was a point that when I first got this, all of my makeup tutorials were using this palette. I feel like to this day, I still use this palette because it is so good. Again, this is one of those palettes like Jaclyn's palette that you can always find a shade that you're missing in another palette in here. So even if I'm doing like the most, I don't know, random smoky eye or basic smoky eye, I go in between the Jaclyn and this one, and I always find a shade that I'm looking for. I love the pigmentation of this palette. It's nice and pigmented, and I do feel like Morphe has really stepped up their game in the actual formula of the eyeshadows. They're not as chalky as they used to be. They're nice and creamier this time, so I really like this. And this palette, the formula of these shadows reminds me a lot of the formula in Jaclyn's eyeshadow palette. So yeah, that's really cool. And yeah, I just love it. It's a warm gauze dream. What? I definitely want to give a shout out to the Desi and Katy in collaboration with Dose of Colors, or the Dose of Colors in collaboration with Desi and Katy. I love this little quad so much. I use it all the time. These two bottom shades are so loved. I use them non-stop. I love the formula on these. I love how it's something different and the colors are different, and it's not something that you're gonna find in a basic regular palette. I love how they took their time to do something just a little bit outside the box. I love how metallic they are, the pigmentation, the glitter effect of them. I love them. I think they're great, and yeah, they're not like a basic everyday shadow palette like quad, but if you are looking for something that's really shimmery, or if you have a specific look in mind, then these are great. Super duper pigmented. Another great palette for me this year was the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. I don't know if you can start to see a trend, but I definitely do prefer the warmer tone palettes. Even though I still love cool tone looks, I do tend to use the warmer tone palettes a little bit more. And this was another palette that just did not disappoint in the year 2017. I think Norvina and Anastasia, they did such an amazing job creating this palette, because again, it's one of those things, it's one of those palettes that you can just use on a daily. You can do something super basic, and you can also take it and do something super dramatic, and I just love it. I love every single shade in here. I love this palette. This is a pure eye polish base and top coat in the shade Satin. I love this little thing so much. This makes your eyelids look wet, but it doesn't transfer, it doesn't crease, it sets down to a powder, but it gives you that foiled, wet looking lids, which you guys know I live and love for. I live and die for. I love this little top coat. They have so many different shades. This one is my favorite shade. I had another shade, I can't find it anywhere, but this color is so pretty. It's so natural. For the springtime and summertime, this was like my go-to last year, because it just gives you that, I don't know, it just, your eyes look so young and so fresh, because it gives you like a luminosity to the lid. I can't describe it, but it's so beautiful. So I love this product a lot. And I also need to give a huge shout out to the Dose of Colors Ideal Duos, their Ideal Eye Duos. This one is in the shade Maple, and what this pretty much is, it has a cream on the top, and then on the bottom you have a pigment. So you first apply the cream, and then you go ahead and you apply the pigment, and again, it just makes it look so foiled, so like wet looking, and like it just looks so beautiful on the eyes. I love products like these. I want to talk about an eyeliner. You guys know I am super picky when it comes to eyeliners. I don't really try out a ton of different liners. I have like my favorite one that I stick to, and that's it, which is the Maybelline Gel Liner. I do use it as an eyeliner, but recently I found, well, not recently, but last year I found the Buxom Call Me Black Eyeliner. This is the blackest black eyeliner I own. It's so creamy, which makes it perfect for smoking out that lower lash line, and it's so pigmented, it's so black. Let me swatch it, and it just goes on so smooth. Like, look how black that is. That is so beautiful. And yeah, it's the perfect eyeliner. It does not smudge, it does not run down your cheeks or down your eyes. It is perfect. And again, it's called Call Me. Okay, moving on to brows, Benefit took over my eyebrows. I was, for the longest time, an Anastasia Beverly Hills brow girl, and I still am, but I don't know why in 2017, Benefit got me. So I have been obsessed with the Precisely My Brow Pencil. I love this pencil, and to set the brows, I have been using their brow setting kind of moussey thingy. What? And also their brow gel. Love these two together. It's what I use on my brows every single day. Love them. Love them. Anastasia Beverly Hills is also great, don't get me wrong, but in 2017, Benefit stole my heart when it came to brows. What can I say? Okay, so let's go ahead and talk blushes, highlights, contours, powders, and all that, because there's a lot. There is a lot of stuff. I'm not even gonna look into my basket. I'm just gonna pull. we're just gonna pull and go with it. So the first thing is blushes. This is the Ofra blush book. I love this. This is my prized possession. I love this blush book so much. Literally every single color you can think of is in here. Like, you don't need any other blush but this book. I think this is the only thing that I'm going to be talking about for blushes, because I was able to find everything for every look in here. There is a shade for everyone in here. You have your peachies, you have your pinks, you have your browns, you have your in-between shades, you have a hot pink shade. Like, there is everything you need in this blush book, blush palette from Ofra. Love this, great quality, super pigmented. I love it. For contouring, I truly wasn't loving a lot of stuff. I have more bronzers than contouring palettes, but I do want to mention the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Contouring book. This is from Tan to Dark. This is what it looks like. As you can see, this middle shade right here, I use this so much. This has been one of my go-to bronzers this year because it has like a nice warm caramel undertone to it. It's not too orange, but it's not too cool tone either. It is so pretty. And this shade right here, which is the contouring shade, because it's supposed to be contour, bronzer, and a highlight. So the contour shade, I have been in love with it to contour my nose. It's the perfect color. Again, it's not too cool, it's not too warm. It's so pretty for contour, and it makes the nose contour super nice and natural and not too crazy or super intense. And again, the bronzer shade, obsessed. This pop color, like the highlight color, I think it's a little bit too dark for me, so I don't really use it. I think mostly if I do use it, it's just to cut the cheeks and clean everything up because it's not as fair. But yeah, it's just a little bit too dark for me, but the first two shades are probably my go-to shades, and it's what I most likely use in the palette, and it is what I will continue to use. And I love this shade right here, like this bronzer shade. Let me show you guys. It is so pretty, and it just looks super natural on the skin. I definitely need to give a huge shout out to Hoola by Benefit. This is nothing new to you guys. This is not a new product. This is a super old product. Even the packaging is like super old, but this is one of my favorite contour bronzer shades ever. It is the perfect color for every skin tone that I have worked with. It is so beautiful. It's the bronzer that I have on right now. I don't know, it just looks so beautiful all the time. It blends beautiful. The color, the undertone, everything about this bronzer is just pure perfection. This next bronzer, I did discover it this year. This is the Buxom bronzer in the shade Maldives. I love this so much. It smells like you're on a tropical vacation sipping on some pina colada. Like, that is what this smells like. It smells so good. This is definitely more of like a summer bronzer powder. This is definitely more of like a summer bronzing powder because it does have some gold flecks in there. This with a tan, oh my god, you are going to look so stunning because this with a tan is going to be beautiful. The gold reflex on this, it's like, it gives you like a nice golden sheen. It's not glittery, it's not sparkly, it just gives you like this golden sun-kissed goddess sheen. It's so beautiful. It smells delicious, and again, the formula on this is great. It's super nice and buttery, and it just blends. Look at that, it's just so soft. It's just like such a soft bronzer. I love this. And one from the drugstore that I loved so much. I find it really difficult to find a bronzer that I like from the drugstore. Like, I haven't found one that has just been my absolute favorite until I found this one. This is the number 7 Golden Sand bronzer. It's so beautiful. Again, it's one of those bronzers. If you look at the Hoola bronzer, let me show you. If you look at the bronzer from Hoola and this one, It's kind of like in the same family. This one, it does have a little bit more red to it, but they're both really light and pretty. So that's kind of what I like when I do bronzers. I don't like something that's going to make me look orangey. I definitely like something that's a little bit more neutral, more cool tone. And I just love this one. It's soft, it's beautiful, it's affordable, it's from the drugstore. And the packaging on this, it's so pretty. Like, I love this kind of metallic, rosy packaging. It's not a rose gold, it's more like a bronze. I think it's beautiful. The packaging, the color, the palette, the product, everything about it, I love. So yeah, golden stand. Okay, so moving on to highlights, I definitely want to start off with this beauty right here. This is the Sleek Solstice palette. I love everything about this palette. Everything about this palette is so great. I love the colors, I love the pigmentation, I love how they don't emphasize my texture, which that's key for me when finding a highlight. And yeah, I just love everything about this, and it's super affordable. You can find it at Walgreens. It's great. Okay, so next up we have the Naked Tutorials and Ofra highlighters. We have Glazed Donut, Glow Goals, and Blind the Haters. She came out with like a, what's it called? What are those called? It's not a quad. The one that has like 3 of them, like a wheel, kind of say. But then she launched them individually, and I love these. I love the Ofra formula for highlighters, so these did not disappoint. They are super, super duper pigmented, so I definitely recommend using a little bit at a time, and don't be too heavy-handed because it can be a lot too quickly, and not in the flattering way, because they are very, very intense and pigmented. Of course, I need to talk about the Hustle Baby by Rihanna Fenty Beauty. I love this. I love this so much. There was a point that this was the only highlight that I was wearing because it's so gorgeous. Out of all of the highlights that she came out with, this is the one that I feel like it's the most wearable. It complements my skin so well. It makes my skin look nice and dewy and wet looking. I love it. So Hustle Baby by Fenty, obsessed. Of course, I'm going to talk about my beloved Burberry Fresh Glow Highlight in Rose Gold. This is probably my most worn highlight of 2017. Not even sure how I didn't hit pan on this because, oh my god, I wear this every single day. I even wear this on the days that I'm wearing no makeup. It's that great. Like, this is such a beautiful highlight. It's really fine but still pigmented. It makes your skin look wet again. I don't know. I just love this highlight so much. And of course, I have to include the illuminating base, what's this called? The Fresh Glow Luminous Fluid Base. These two together, so pretty! Give a huge shout out to the Kat Von D Brightening Under Eye Setting Powder in Petal. You guys know this is my baby. This is my go-to. I am almost down to the last bit of it, so I need to definitely go in and repurchase and buy a new one. This is such a beautiful under eye setting powder. It does give you a nice bright under eye. It has a peachy undertone to it, so it's going to help to color correct. This is my baby. I love this so much. To set the face, I have been using the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in shade number 20. This has been my go-to, you guys. This is such a natural powder. It's so finely milled, but it still gives you just a little bit of coverage. It doesn't change the finish of your foundation. It just gives you a nice matte finish. It fills in all the little pores. I use this with my damp sponge, and on the days that I'm really like in a rush, I'll just dust it all over my face with the brush. It looks so pretty. It doesn't look cakey. It layers on top of foundation beautifully. Love this powder. And of course, I need to talk about the Airspun powder. This is another one of those products that's most likely going to be in every single favorite of mine for the rest of my life, because this powder is so beautiful, so cheap. You can find this at Walmart, Walgreens. If you're from Miami, you can find it at Navarro. It is, again, so pretty. And I use the one in translucent extra coverage because it does give me a little bit more coverage when I'm setting the under eyes. But if you're looking for a really cheap and affordable powder, but that performs just like a high-end powder, look no further than the Airspun powder. It's awesome. Alrighty, so moving on to the last of the bunch, which is lips. So we have covered everything. The only thing that we have left to do is cover lips. I just said that. Of course, I need to mention the Kylie Jenner lip boxes, lip collections. These are two of my favorite ones. It's the KKW and Kylie Cosmetics, which is the Kim Kardashian collection and Kylie. And of course, the Send Me Nudes collection from Kylie Jenner. I love every single shade in both of these. They have been my go-to. I have backups of each and one of them because I cannot see myself without these in my future. These are so great. Love the formula. I love how they're velvety, but they're still nice and pigmented and they stay on the lips. And believe it or not, you guys, I like Kylie Jenner, okay? Just because the eyeshadow palette didn't work out for me doesn't mean I hate Kylie or I bash Kylie Cosmetics. If anything, it was a plea for me to get Kylie to work on her eyeshadows. So I have to address that because the negativity in that video is so bad. I had to disable the comments because people were attacking one another. I was getting called all names in the book. So yeah, I love Kylie. I love Kylie. Like, I truly love Kylie. I stalk Kylie. So I was not bashing her in that video. So just putting it out there. I love her products, just the eyeshadows need more work. And a lot of you guys said the same thing happened to you. If you got a good working palette, I'm really happy that you did, but a lot of us didn't. So yeah, that's that. So anyways, so yeah, love the Kylie Cosmetics Liquid Lipsticks. I also want to talk about the Buxom Plump Line Lip Liners. I have 3 shades here. They're not in any specific order or anything. I just love the formula of these lip liners. They are in a wood packaging, which a lot of people don't really like wood lip liners because they are a little bit more drying, but these are the complete opposite. Even if they are in a wood like pencil, they're still very nice and pigmented and creamy. I specifically sorry about that, I'm still a little sick, but I specifically wanted to mention these because of the formula of them, how pigmented they are, how long they last on the lips, and I love the fact they are so pigmented and so creamy that you can even, they do bring a little brush, so you can fill in the lips and then with the brush smooth it over, and it can be a lipstick as well. So love the formula of these, love the color range. My favorite one is in Hush Hush. I have mentioned this before. I love this one. And then I also love Code Red, and this one is White Russian. For lip glosses, I also have to give Buxom a huge shout out because these were my go-to lip glosses of the year. It's a lip gloss I have on right now. I have on the shade Blushing Margarita. Love this lip gloss. I also love, of course, White Russian, Mudslide, and Serena. Love the formula of these. Love how plumping and cooling they feel. My lips stay glossy for a long time. I don't have to reapply. I haven't had to reapply my lipstick, and I started filming this video at 12. It's currently 2:36, and I haven't touched my lips, and it has stayed as glossy as if I have just applied it. So love these lip glosses. Definitely recommend. So that is pretty much it. We have made it to the end of the video. Can't believe it, that took me forever to do, so I hope it's not too long. You made it to the end of the video. I specifically want to thank you because you have made my channel what it is today. You have supported me. You guys have watched me. You have loved me for who I am on the times where you didn't know and I didn't know who I was, and on the times that I was just all over the place, you guys were there for me. You guys know who I am, and your words, your encouragement, your everything about you guys have made my 2017 a little bit better than what it was. So thank you so much to every single one of you who has subscribed, who has liked, who has shared my video. You guys, it means the world to me. It truly does. I started this channel as a platform for other women to, like myself, didn't feel beautiful, for other women who had no friends and who would just escape their everyday life on the internet. And I have this platform, and I don't take it for granted. I want this platform to be something that I am proud of, something that I can inspire other women. I want you guys to feel like you have a friend in me, and you do. You really do. So thank you so much for making my 2017 amazing, and I'm telling you, 2018 is going to be a good year. So I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Like the video, share it, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. And yeah, so I'll see you on Friday with another very exciting video. So I love you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Mwah.